Hello, everyone. I'm Cynthia Kane, and I am the Librarian Liaison for the School of Library and Information Management. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a very good general periodical database called Academic Search Complete, which is a good one to use for a variety of general library topics. I'm also going to show you how you can use Academic Search Complete to identify citations for articles, and if the full text of those articles is not available immediately in Academic Search Complete, I'm also going to show you how you can use our Journals tab on our library's webpage to see if that specific journal article is available in another place, like another electronic periodical subscription, another database, or perhaps even in print. So we are going to start now with our library's webpage. And there's more than one way to get to the library's webpage. If you were to go specifically to library.emporia.edu, that will take you directly to the library's webpage. You can also start directly at the ESU webpage at www.emporia.edu and scroll down to the bottom of the screen. And a link to the libraries and archives will be at the bottom of every web page for ESU. So that will look a little bit familiar as well. Finally, if you are already in a Canvas course, there's a link to the left of your Canvas course that says Libraries and Archives. And if you click on that link, that will actually prompt you to open a new tab in your browser, and that will also take you to the library's web page. Now, something I'm going to do, which will become a little bit more important later on, is actually keep two tabs open for our search. I'm going to use one tab for our actual search in Academic Search Complete, and the other tab will become important later on because I want to go back to that tab with the library's webpage when I need to start checking the accessibility and the availability of other resources elsewhere. So in another video, we covered the Discovery Search tab that can be used to find items such as print books, ebooks, and some articles. I, though, actually prefer to go directly to the Databases tab when I know that I'm going to be looking a little bit more specifically for journal articles, magazine articles, and the like. Now, if you were to click on All Subjects and scroll down, you'll see that you can go directly to Library and Information Science databases through this All Subjects link. And that's covered in another video as well. But what we're going to do for today is actually go directly to the Academic Search Complete database. And some of you may have used this in other places or other libraries. Now, when you're searching off campus and you start to get into any type of database, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. And you will be prompted to enter your buzz-in, username, and password. And this just authenticates you as a currently enrolled ESU student, that you are affiliated with Emporia State. So the screen that we see next is actually a very general screen for searching the Academic Search Complete database. By the way, you see EBSCOhost here. EBSCOhost is not the name of the database. EBSCOhost is the publisher or the vendor of a wide variety of databases, including this one. So there is a very important distinction between the two. When I get ready to search in a database for articles, I always go to something called an advanced search. And the reason is that the advanced search lets me set up a lot of different limits so that I can get a more narrowed and focused search as a result. So we're going to be doing a rather broad keyword search for our purposes today, but we want our keywords to appear in the abstract or author-supplied abstracts of any articles. Now, why would I do that? Well, this is a full-text database. There's a lot of full text of articles in Academic Search Complete. If I do not limit my search this way, I will actually be searching for keywords anywhere in the complete full text of any articles that are out there. So if you ever get results and you think that they are not exactly focused upon your information need, this is most likely why that happened. We're going to do a rather broad search today, and I'm actually interested in public libraries and story times. I'm going to pause here, and I want you to notice something. I put an asterisk at the end of the word story time. That is a trick that you can use in searching in online resources, and that's called truncation. Truncation simply means that I'm going to be getting variant endings of a word. So in this particular instance, I'm going to get story time, but I will also get the plural, story times. And that just helps broaden out our search a little bit more. If I wanted to narrow my search even further, I could say that I only wanted scholarly or peer-reviewed journals. I'm not actually going to do that today because I want to show you these first results. I am not going to limit my results to full text, though, and I'm going to show you why in just a second, why I would choose not to do that. So let's click on Search. And with these results, I have 37 in the Academic Search Complete database, so that's really not a bad search at all. Now, one thing you'll notice is that many of these, even though I didn't limit to full text, many of these will have the PDF full text of the article, or in this particular instance, linked full text means that the database is actually linking to another resource or another database that actually had access to that article. So you see when I clicked on that link, I was able to pull up that article. Now, something that I can do here at this point, as I find resources or articles that I think are rather interesting, but I may not have time to go through them right now, I can click on a folder option that's next to each record of information. We will come back to that in just a second, and I'll show you why I might want to do that as well. So again, I can go through here. It looks like I have the full text of many of these until we get to record number 5. Record number 5 looks like that it is from a journal called Library and Information Science Research. But you notice something here? There's no link in this specific database for the full text of the article. So the next part I'm going to show you is something you want to do when you're searching for a known item for an article. So in other words, if you have the reference or a citation to an article, the next step that you would want to do if the full text is not there is to see if our library has access to that specific journal in any way, in any form. And this is what I'm going to show you next. I am going to copy the title of the journal, Library and Information Science Research. Notice I did not copy the title of the article. The reason is that we're thinking right now of searching on the journal level. Do we have access to this journal? And now this is why I wanted to keep that other tab open to the library's web page. I'm now going to click on a link or a tab for journals. This is going to take me into a resource that's called Browsing. And Browsing really isn't a way of searching for a topic. Browsing, again, is good for known item searching. So in Browsing, I can paste the name of the journal. And over here, this is telling me that, yes, Library and Information Science Research is available to our library through Browsing, but I need to drill down just a little bit farther with this. So let's go back to our result list. This particular article is available in Volume 39, Issue 3, July of 2017 of Library and Information Science Research. So we'll go back over here. So let's go to 2017. Again, we are looking for Volume 39, Issue 3. So let's click on that link. And as we scroll down, this is a really good way too of browsing through the tables of contents of issues. And that's something else that's good to use with Browsing if you just want to discover what's out there. And we found it, Observing Preschool Storytime Practices. That sounds really interesting. So let's click on Download PDF. And this is actually looking in another resource that we have called Science Direct, which is a bundle of electronic journals that we subscribe to, and it went to the article. So you see how easy that was. But you will also see that this is why I very deliberately did not limit my search in this database to full text, because if I had done that, that would have eliminated that particular article. So always remember, you can go back to the Journals tab, search by the journal, and see if we have access to a journal in any other way. Now, let's say for the sake of argument, though, that this actually wasn't available through browsing, so we didn't have it. This would be the point now where you could click on Interlibrary Loan after you have checked the Journals tab first. We're going to log on to a service that's called ILLiad, which is our interlibrary loan service. Now, I have used ILLiad many times for interlibrary loan, so when I clicked on the interlibrary loan link, you will see that my record for this article, my order record, was actually already populated. So I don't have to go back and copy and paste any of this information. If you have never done interlibrary loan before through the library, you would actually get a screen first that would look very similar to this. And this is where you can enter your personal information, but you only have to fill that out once. And then, if the interlibrary loan link is available through a database, as we saw, such as Academic Search Complete, the article request will be pre-populated with all of that information. And then I can just click on Submit Request. Now, if this were an article that were not owned by our library, then our interlibrary loan staff would find it in another library, and it would be emailed to your emporia.edu address, either as a PDF attachment or a link that would lead you to the PDF. You can also use this if you found, for example, an older article that might only be available in print in William Allen White Library. If that is the case, you can still go ahead and fill out this article request form for the article. We would actually scan that article from print to PDF, and we would send that to you as an attachment. So you always have access to information as a distance education student. Always keep that in mind. I am going to close actually one of these tabs here, and I'm going to go back to my result list, because I promised that I would return to these particular references to articles that I marked in a folder. So sometimes you might only have a little bit of time to do a bit of research, and then you need to come back to that later on. In databases such as Academic Search Complete and Library and Information Science Source, other databases that we have, when you click on a folder and you add this information, you can then email these results to yourself. If the full text was available or the PDF was available in that original record, you would basically get that information as a separate attachment. And you can then say that you want those records actually reformatted as a bibliography or a references list in your citation style of choice. For SLIM, you will be using APA, the American Psychological Association. Now, this is not foolproof. We'll still probably have to edit some of those references because they may not be 100% accurate along with APA, but at least you will have the information there that you can work with accordingly. Let's go back. You do not have to email. Another way that you can save information is looking at some of your results, one result at a time, as I did with record number 1. And if you have your Google Drive set up, say with your g.emporia.edu account, you can save this information along with the PDF, if it is available, to your Google Drive directly. So that's a very nice time saver as well. You can also email your records one at a time, but I do prefer the folder option. If you only needed to cite one article, the cite feature in the complete record will pull up various citation styles for this article. Now, I mentioned that you might have to do some editing. This is actually an excellent example. This particular record was converted to APA style for this article. However, in the original record, these words, literacy, library story times, were capitalized. You would have to convert those into lowercase in order to go along with APA style. So again, It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it can indeed save you some time. I hope that this has been a good introduction to using Academic Search Complete. The steps and the techniques that I showed you can actually be applied to other databases in library and information science. And as always, you can always contact me at ckane1@emporia.edu if you ever have any questions. Good luck with your PASS course, and I look forward to meeting you all later on.